On the boxing ring stage in the Smash series, 2 of the characters currently in the match will be shown off on the Jumbotron, and more importantly, be given a unique title above their name. Some trying to sound pretty cool, others going for a different vibe. But in either case, I imagine most of you watching have never actually taken the time to look at the titles for every character. Some characters having more than one title even. Yep, just brand new information for you. Oh. Well, the video's already made, and I'm sure I'll have extra information that you might find neat. And yes, I'm also going to be ranking them all using this handy tier list, but just as a small thing on this side. The mash to your bangers, or something. And we've got a strong start with Mario being Mr. Video Game himself. On the surface, this sounds like a pretty haughty name, even if it's entirely fair, like, Mario is the video game character. But it's also a reference to one of the placeholder names he had way back in his appearance in Donkey Kong, until they settled on Jumpman. So it's an apt name that sounds impressive and has actual lore behind it. That's an easy A tier. Actually, let's go with A+. I'm saving the S tier for the ones that make me laugh the most, because that's what's most important to me. Next is Donkey Kong, whose title is King of the Jungle. It is a solid wrestling name, but it's also kind of basic, I guess? Like, on its own is fine, but you're gonna see a lot of other king titles, so I'm kinda half and half. But actually, I guess you could say that this is bringing Donkey Kong closer to his inspiration, King Kong, right? You know what, actually? With that, I think I might bump him up to a B- then. Yeah, okay, that's kinda cool. Link is the champion of Hyrule. Specifically champion because that's what Link is in Breath of the Wild. Again, it works, but it's still kinda bland to me. The Japanese name is specifically the Resurrected Champion, further referencing Link's awakening in the Shrine of Resurrection, but I'm judging the English names for this, so I guess C+. Samus is the Bounty Hunter Extraordinaire. I'll deploy my 5 years of high school French class to let you know that extraordinaire means extraordinary.
You're welcome.
Because being a bounty hunter is kinda cool, I'll give this B tier, but actually maybe B-. Dark Samus, on the other hand, is Phazon Incarnate. I'm probably not going to explain the lore of every single one, since a lot of them are surface level, just as a heads up. Any more details would probably end up doubling this video's length. But yeah, this one's dope, even more than Samus's, I'd say. It just sounds really cool. B+. Yoshi is Omnivore of the Year. Why is he getting the title like he's Employee of the Month? I guess he really locked in and ate as much of everything as possible to get the title. I wonder who's gonna get it next year. I'm really proud of him though, and anyone in the ring is now afraid of being next on the menu, so that's an A tier, easy, good stuff. Kirby is the Pink Demon. Simple but fairly effective. I especially like titling this little guy as a demon. Like, yeah, he is, but it's still funny. It is more on the basic side, so maybe that's a B+, but I do like it. Fox is the leader of Star Fox. There's definitely going to be a trend of some of these just kind of sounding like job titles, something you'd put on your resume. I'll have F tier be the job application tier then.
Hey, that's some pretty good resume experience though.
But when there's practically an infinite number of ways to make fitting titles that are also more creative and interesting, these ones are just gonna have to be at the bottom for me. Now, is there really that much of a difference between Leader of Star Fox and Champion of Hyrule? Maybe not, but it's a vibes game, so I don't care. Pikachu's title is Pika Pika. Now, I'm not sure what this is saying in Pikachu speak.
Hopefully nothing problematic.
But it reminds me of Little Caesar's slogan, so that definitely bumps it up to at least a B tier. Actually, no, this has made me laugh more than the others, so it's A-. Also gonna point out the Japanese title being Electric Attack Mouse Pokemon. The last part is what I'm interested in, as a few of the other Pokemon have their in-game classification referenced in these titles too. It's pretty neat. Next, Luigi is the Eternal Understudy. In a sense, this is exactly what he is, but at the same time, he's also not. Half because Luigi is his own dude now more than ever, and half because he's higher tier than Mario in this game. So this more so downplays my GOAT rather than giving him the hype he deserves, so that's why I'll put it in C tier. I guess higher end, since it's at least a unique title, just give him more respect. It's funny too, because the Japanese name is the Green Favorite. Almost a complete reverse approach, it's funny. Ness is the PSI Powerhouse. Solid name, just a decent title. Not something you put on an application and not just a basic descriptor, more fitting for the ring. So maybe lower end of B tier? Though here I'll bring up the French title, which is The Psychopath in Short Pants. Clearly the Psy there is capitalized to reference Ness's PSI. So that's great and all, but there's a good chance if you switched your console's language to French to see for yourself, you'd instead see this. Much closer to the English title, right? This is because of differences between the North American and PAL versions of the game. Just as an easy check, if your game calls them Duck Hunt, it's North American, and if they call it Duck Hunt Duo, it's PAL. What's interesting is that it seems all of the English titles have been homogenized to just be the same thing, at least from the ones that I've checked, compared to their appearances in Smash 4, and yet the other languages weren't. So I'll be bringing up those other languages more throughout the video, sourced from the wiki, but if you can't replicate it yourself, that's probably why. I'm trying to keep the scope of this video reeled back a bit, so I'm not testing every single version of every language ever, okay? But I just wanted to get that out there. Next up, Captain Falcon is the Supersonic Slugger. Great name, putting focus on his high speed and high ability to punch the hell out of you. And it has that satisfying alliteration going on, that triple S vibe. So it's either high B tier or low A tier. Actually, I'll go with A- because Captain Falcon is cool. Jigglypuff is the Sleepy Singer. Okay, like, isn't Jigglypuff making other people sleepy, rather than being sleepy itself? I feel like that's what this implies. Okay, I know how me saying that makes me look, okay, but whatever. In either case, I guess I could put it in B-. I want to spend time talking about, once again, the French title being... fatty? What? What do you mean? Okay, maybe chubby or whatever other translation works, but it still stands that this is just calling Jigglypuff fat. Okay, that's a title. Peach is the Princess of Toadstools. This starts the trend of some titles simply just being royalty. Some might find there to be power beneath those. To me, they're just uninspired. And only one step above resume filler, so D tier. Daisy, on the other hand, is Sarasaland's Chipper Princess. The load-bearing word chipper here is really giving this extra flair, so I'll bump this one up to C tier. Definitely not because I like Daisy more than Peach, trust me. Bowser is King of the Koopas. As awesome as Bowser is, and as true as this title is to his credentials, again, it's just uninspired to me, D tier. Ice Climbers are the bone-chilling duo. That's pretty cool. Get it? Temperature? It's a solid title for sure, I'll give them B+ for that. Sheik is titled as the Elusive Sheikah. This one almost seems redundant, since I figured most Sheikah were elusive. Maybe it's trying to specifically point out how Zelda avoided Ganondorf for 7 years under this form. So it's fine, but being honest, it just doesn't do much for me. C+, B-, I'll keep it at C+, sure. Once again, I want to point out the other languages. First being Japanese, where the title is Whirlwind That Dances in the Darkness. Damn, that's fire. I like it. And then you've got French coming back with Who Turned the Light Off? I burst out laughing when I saw this, but it's also gotta be a pun of some sort since the word Sheikah is pretty clearly in here too. I'll let any French knowers inform me more on that. Zelda, on the other hand, is Hyrule's Wise Princess.
Wise because of the Triforce of Wisdom.
That does bump it up from the other royal titles, but still just in C tier like Daisy. Next, Dr. Mario is the Prescriber. This is already solid and immediately made me think of The Undertaker, that sort of name. It is really basic but still leaves room to play with. Like, ooh, what's he prescribing? Knuckle sandwiches? I like it. A tier. Mario has good taste. Once again though, French comes back with a one-way ticket to the hospital? Oh my god, why are all the French titles so funny, man? Pichu is shockingly adorable. Aww. Puns are good for these sorts of things, so I'll at least give this B tier. Maybe towards the higher end of it because it made me laugh still. Falco is the Proud Space Ace. Rolls off the tongue well, has personality, B tier, cool. Marth is the Hero King. Yeah, that's what they call him. Okay, how do I even judge titles that are just ripped from the source material? Like, they're faithful, it has lore, but technically not creative in some sense, but still kinda are because, okay, whatever, I'll just do half and half. It's a pretty sick title in concept, but so many of these titles have either the word hero or king in them anyways, so C+, I guess? Lucina, however, is the warrior from a doomed future, referring to how she time traveled from a timeline where taxes are insanely high despite none of that money going to anything for the people. I really like these types of titles that do have lore built into them, but still offer intrigue when standing alone. So I'll give her A- as a little treat. Young Link is the master of the ocarina. I do really like the focus on the ocarina, even if his kit doesn't use it in any way, even for taunts. Like, you could have called him the hero of time, which, but I guess I should probably keep him in the B tier at most. Yeah, whatever, that's fine. Ganondorf is the King of Darkness. Ganon and Ganondorf have had a lot of titles throughout the Zelda series, though apparently this specific title is only ever used in Four Swords Adventures? Crazy pick. And man, I know I've been ranking our other king-typed titles harshly, but I feel like being the King of Darkness has enough extra sauce to put him above the others, but maybe not by much. C+, whatever. Mewtwo's title is A Legend Reawakens. This one's really solid, being a reference to that one movie that had Mewtwo in it and standing firm on its own, adding intrigue to the ring. Like, ooh, that's a legendary Pokemon. And reawakens? Ooh, what do you mean reawakens? From what? What lore? Sure, A tier, why not? Roy is the Young Lion. This is his epithet in this games, and it at least sounds like a title. Lower B tier, I do kinda like it at least. Chrom is the Prince of Elise. You already know how I feel, that's a D tier. Mr. Game & Watch is the master of 2 dimensions. Get it? Cause he's flat, 2D! No, actually, that's really good. So is he here to master the 3rd dimension too? I mean, he's already figured out how to become 3D, so that's pretty cool actually, A+. Meta Knight is the Masked Swordsman. Yeah, this works in the ring, and yeah, it makes sense for him, but maybe I should stop artificially padding out this video by justifying all of my rankings that are meant to just be fun add-ons anyway. C+ tier. Pit is captain of Lady Palutena's guard. You could argue there's more weight to being the captain of a goddess's guard. I would argue it just makes for a more impressive resume, so maybe D tier instead of F. Dark Pit, however, is the dark-winged doppelganger. Clearly a lot more intrigue, and he's probably really thankful that he's not just called Pichu. Let's give that B tier. Zero Suit Samus is called the Warrior Within. It is a bit poetic as the warrior within the power suit, of course. We just see the word warrior a lot throughout this. So I guess B-. Okay, here we go. Wario's title is The Scoundrel with a Fart of Gold. This is one of those cases where the English version is by far the best one. The first time I saw this title, I just lost it. Like, sure, you can argue that the phrasing it's playing off of doesn't really have a place here, since he definitely does not have a heart of gold. But like, fart of gold? Are you kidding me? Yeah, it sure is. That fart really is gold. Yeah, S tier. It has to be. God. Next, Snake is the Legendary Mercenary, a title he's been given in the Metal Gear series, and I guess it rhymes, right? It's pretty cool. B-. Ike is the Radiant Hero of Legend. Like a lot of the other Fire Emblem characters, this is just his title from the Origin games. More hero and legend thrown around like always. C+. Now, Pokemon Trainers is wants to be the very best. That no one ever was, yes. He wants to be the very best, or she. Yeah, it's the same for either alt. And it's built off of the trainer, not the Pokemon, so we unfortunately don't have titles for Squirtle, Ivysaur, or Charizard, but still, awesome. A+. Diddy Kong is referred to as the Acrobat. I mean, he sure is acrobatic, but I mean, that's really it. C-. The French title being Pirouettes and Peanuts is awesome, though. I really wish we got that one instead. Lucas's title is The Boy from Nowhere. These are the kinds that I like. It's a good enough wrestling name on its own, I think. Makes you ask questions like, how could he be from nowhere? While being a direct reference to Mother 3, where the setting is the Nowhere Islands. So Lucas is literally from nowhere. Love it, Lucas is cool, A tier. Sonic is, of course, the Blue Blur. It really couldn't have been anything else, and it's a great one, even on its own merits. It's a classic for a reason, A-. And also let's bring up the cheeky Italian version, which is Speed is his middle name. A fitting kind of cheesy one-liner, I like it. Now, King Dedede's title is Self-Made King. Listen, veil of irony off, I know that King Dedede isn't actually a king and he just calls himself one, but I don't care, he's a real king to me, and that's why I like this wording more. Self-made does have the potential interpretation of being self-proclaimed or fake in this context, but to me, it just means that he pulled himself up by his bootstraps and earned the title of king on his own. Truly inspiring. Whereas the Japanese name is the self-proclaimed Great King, which, nope, not enough respect. He's a real king, accept it. A tier, love that guy. He earned his title. He made it. Okay, here's our first neat one. Olimar is a veteran astronaut. Again, job title. Even if it's an awesome job for normal human standards, still F tier. It's interesting because Alph is actually given a different title, being an astronaut in training. After all, for lore reasons, referring to Alph as a veteran wouldn't be so apt. Like Olimar, it's in the job application tier, vibe-wise being lower because this is basically like an internship kinda. Okay, but how about Lucario, who is the Master of Aura? Man, the way this word has changed throughout the years online, I hear it more in a day than I used to in months. And I don't know if that's in favor of or against this poor character. Nah, I'll say that being a Master of Aura is actually either funny or cool, so A tier. Next, R.O.B is the last of his kind. Of course, referring to the events of Subspace Emissary, where after everything, R.O.B is left as the last R.O.B of them all. I like it, A-, boom. Though I want to give extra points to the Italian version being Benevolent Obliterating Robot, primarily because, in Italian, this is built off of the R.O.B acronym, which is super clever, I like that. Now we have Toon Link, who is the Wind-Waking Warrior. I do like alliterations, I cannot lie, and even if a blatant reference to the Wind Waker, that's always struck me as an interesting title anyways. I think the overuse of warrior, hero, all those does bring it down a little bit, but whatever man, B tier, sure. Wolf is the Silver Space Wolf. Yeah, he is, he sure is. C tier. Man, why did I force myself to rank everything in this video? Oh, here's a good one. Villager is the mayor of Smashville. This one was mostly interesting to me because I wasn't exactly sure if this instance of Villager had a mayoral role, something you only get in Animal Crossing New Leaf, whose villager designs are taller than what we see here, so this is fun confirmation. But of course, that's still just a job, F tier. Mega Man is, of course, the Blue Bomber, a common nickname for the character throughout the series, and you know what? This actually works insanely well as a wrestling title, doesn't it? I know there's a lot of bomb and bomber moves in wrestling, even coming from someone who basically knows nothing about wrestling, so yeah, I actually really like that one. A tier. Higher end of it. Oh, here's another interesting one. Female Wii Fit Trainer is the Yoga Warrior. Again, warrior.
Wow, how original.
Boring. C- actually, just as an extra punishment. Because now we have male Wii Fit Trainer, who is the BMI Bandit. Another one where the moment I read it, I just lost it. It has alliteration use, reference to fitness, and dude, BMI Bandit? What? I'm sorry, that's just, it has to be S tier, man, come on. So that one was great, but the other languages have some funny ones for both genders as well, so let's go through a few of them. In Japanese and the other Asian languages, it's just basic motivational routine planning.
Today, let's diet together for female, and today, let's be healthy and fit for male.
Interestingly, French is the only language which has the same title for both genders, being breathe in, release. Next up is Rosalina and Luma, being the Cosmic Travelers. Aww, it's because they travel the cosmos together and stuff. B-. Little Mac is the Bruiser from the Bronx. Big fan of this one because that's where Little Mac's from, and it works great as a title. A tier. But again, we got other languages to talk about, because in French, his title is The Dentist. I was like, what the hell do you mean at first? But then I realized it's because he's punching the teeth out of people. And that's just such a funny way to describe a boxer. I love that. And then in Italian, we've got the only numbers he knows are 1, 2. 1, 2 jab, you get it. But also it makes it sound like he's a complete idiot. Bro can't even count to 3. Man, this game is funny. Greninja is the Master of Stealth. Yeah, he sure is a Master of Stealth. That's what ninjas are. C-, shut up. Let's do all 3 Mii Fighters at once since they all share the same idea. It'll be the fighting style of many faces. It's an apt way to go about handling these characters, though I do appreciate what many of the other languages do, where instead of many, they specify 1,000 faces. It's technically the same idea, but that specific wording feels a lot more interesting to me. But as these names stand now, I think it's pretty cool. Let's just put them in B tier. Palutena is the Goddess of Light. Now, to be fair, out of all the generic normal titles we've seen, being a literal goddess has a bit more impact to it over just being some random princess or king or hero, blah blah blah. So I'll just go with B-. Pac-Man is the Yellow Bane of Ghosts. I sat on this one for a bit, and honestly, it's pretty good. It's tough, it's fire, it's aura. It's funny how many languages focus on him eating ghosts, especially with Dutch and Russian just calling him the Ghost Gobbler. Love that. Oh, B- for the English one. It's funny, but doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well, I guess. Robin is the Tactician Magician. He's well known for being both of those things, and it's a great rhyme. Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of this one.
A tier.
Shulk is the Visionary. At first I was kinda whelmed, like obviously it's because Shulk sees visions and stuff and that much is awesome, but like the term visionary is used even if you don't literally see visions of the future, just having strong ideas for what the future should look like, usually for leaders of a change or movement or whatever, which is what Shulk also is. So it's a title that's short but packs a lot of weight. That's an easy A tier for me. Okay, now Bowser Jr. and the Koopalings are a very interesting case. As in Japanese, Chinese, and Korean, all 8 of these alts are given the same umbrella title of All-Purpose Chariot. However, in the remaining languages, every single individual character alt is given their own title. Bowser Jr.'s is Prince of the Koopas. Following his father's footsteps, that's a D tier, obviously. Larry is the youngest. That's fun information, I guess, but kind of a terrible title, huh?
Like, I'm fighting
the youngest. Could probably punt him then. Actually, you know what? I'll make a new unemployed tier just for you. Roy is
the cool one.
Hell yeah, he is. A-. Wendy is
the bold beauty.
If that's what rocks your boat, sure, B-. Iggy is the laughing prankster. Yeah, sure, I like that one. B tier. Morton is the enforcer. I guess this one's kind of like Dr. Mario's for me, where it's short and simple but still reminds me of other wrestlers. This gets the new special TF2 weapon tier. I wonder if he also ignores damage resistances. Oh, and the Italian title is He'll Make You See Stars, which is awesome. Focuses on his star theming too, it's cool. Lemmy is the wacky war machine. Big fan of this one. You know, you got some alliteration, it sticks out from the rest, and calling yourself a war machine, that's good. A-. And lastly, Ludwig is the pompous prodigy. You know, I don't know much lore about this character, so I didn't actually know that he was a pompous loser, which is kind of disappointing. And also, hot personal take. Being a prodigy is actually cringe. Like, grow up, man. Jeez. I like Roy the most now. Get in C-, idiot. Okay, back to the main roster. Duck Hunt's title is Bark, Quack, Boom.
Just some onomatopoeia, huh?
A completely different direction from every other language. And you know what? It's funny as hell to just have it be sound effects, like they just don't care. And you could argue that this plays into how the duo is actually a trio, with the boom being the person holding the zapper at the TV screen, maybe. I don't know. A tier, I just like it. Ryu's title is the Eternal Wanderer. This is his official nickname from Street Fighter V, so it makes sense to use it here, and you know, it actually sounds really sick. A-. Ken's is the Fire-Breathing Fist. Like Ryu, this is his official nickname, and it also sounds pretty sick. It just makes sense that these characters got some good fighter titles.
It's almost like they come from fighting games.
A-. Cloud's title is Soldier First Class.
Soldier's the second class.
And Cloud should get a real job,
says the YouTuber.
Corrin's title is Blood of Dragons. I mean, dragons are neat and all, and this character does indeed have dragon's blood. Carried by the concept, the execution could have been a bit more interesting. B-. Bayonetta is obviously the Umbra Witch. Even if that's literally just what she is, I still quite like that. Imagine stepping into the ring versus an Umbra Witch. I mean, I kinda want to. Let's go with B tier, sure. Now we're on the last batch of characters. Inkling's title is Part Kid, Part Squid. I like that little rhyme, and this sort of kid-squid pattern is seen a lot in Splatoon. B+. In Japanese, the title is Ikashita Wakamono, or cool kid into that effect, but the Ika at the start also means squid! Yeah, it's a squid pun, we like those. And I haven't really been bringing them up each time, but in some of the languages with gendered words, they have slightly different titles depending on which gendered alt you use. Now, Ridley's title is Cunning God of Death. Now that is sick. At first I was caught off guard by how intense it was, since I never really recalled Ridley being referred to as a god of death. but apparently this name comes from a nickname he received on the Japanese site for Metroid Zero Mission, I guess, which is interesting because his Japanese title is different from that, just being Cruel Charisma, which is also pretty good. But yeah, no, Cunning God of Death is intense but gnarly. A+. Simon's title is Evil's Whip-Wielding Bane. The phrasing on this feels a bit more awkward in my opinion, even if it's still correct, but I think it's still cool enough to get a B-. Richter, though, is the Azure Vampire Assassin. Azure is a cool color and a cool word for a cool color, and being a vampire assassin is just awesome. A-. King K. Rool is the Kremling Commander. Alliterations are good and I like K. Rool, but let's be real, it's pretty similar to just being a basic king title, huh? Like different, but kind of the same. I'll go with C-. But we've got to talk about some of the other options. Actually 3 languages, being German, Dutch, and Russian. All of them have something along the lines of Kleptomaniac Kremling King. Even further alliteration, and I love the use of the word kleptomaniac. If you don't know, kleptomania is a disorder where you're unable to resist the urge to steal. Very fitting for this banana horde thief. The issue is just that... yeah, that's a title with 3 Ks in a row. We really don't want that now, do we? For something a bit more wholesome, Isabelle is the mayor's assistant. That's so precious. She is! F tier, obviously, but still. Incineroar is the ring's raging flame. For a wrestler, it makes sense for him to have a decent ring name. B+, sure. Piranha Plant is the bloom of your doom. It's got a good rhyme, it's got a plant reference, it's got a doom reference. It's everything you'd want in a name. A+. I can tell that the other languages went for puns that I'm not equipped to explain, but I did want to bring up the Spanish title of Bites First and Asks Later. That's funny. Joker is the Great Phantom Thief. Another phenomenal stage name and an obvious choice for the Phantom Thief. I'll just give it a B+. For Hero, all 4 of his alts have different titles. Luminaries is the Luminary.
Gee, I wonder why.
Even if it's just the name of this specific hero appearance, that's still a solid title and an interesting word that you don't see every day. B tier? Sure. The Japanese title being the hero called the Demon Child is pretty dang gnarly in its own right, though. Erdrix is the legendary hero. You know, in a game like this that's full of other legendary heroes, him alone having this kind of title is actually beast mode. Like, all of you other little babies can play a hero, but this guy? He is the legendary hero. But, obviously, it's still just the words we see all the time. C+, I'll give him that. Solo is the Zenithian hero. By the way, to fill you in, Zenithia is a sky castle place. And I like locations in the sky, Smiles. Still loses impact for being yet another hero title though, so C tier. 8 is the Dragovian Descendant. See, this phrasing is a bit more interesting than Blood of Dragons, even if Dragovian isn't really the exact same, whatever, B tier, plain and simple. Banjo and Kazooie are the laid-back animals. Yeah, they're just a couple of chill fellas, what of it? They may be up against demon gods of death and fury, but they're just here to hang out. And you know what? I love that confidence. A-. Terry is the legendary wolf. Alright, more legendary stuff.
Would you rather be a legendary hero or a legendary wolf?
Like Ryu and Ken, this is Terry's official nickname in the Fatal Fury series, so obviously they had to go with that. Better than the billionth hero title, but still B-. Byleth is the Ashen Demon. Honestly, kind of a sick one. Very fitting for this environment, and again is what Byleth is referred to as in the games, I guess. Because of their emotionless demeanor on the battlefield, which, actually, that's kind of cool. I'll toss that in A tier, maybe A-. Min Min is the Ramen Bomber. Use of Bomber again, which I like. And this one also feels like a very fitting ring name. Let's just give her A-. Now, both Steve and Alex have the same title of World Crafter. Being described as someone who crafts whole entire worlds is kind of insane, and also true. They're basically gods at that point. Let's do A tier, honestly. Zombie has a different title, being Night Roamer. I prefer some of the other languages using the word nocturnal instead. It's fitting, but kind of whatever to me, C+. And Enderman is the End Dweller. Being a dweller of the End is pretty cool, so that's B tier, I guess. Sephiroth's title obviously had to be the One-Winged Angel. There was nothing else it could have been, and every single language follows suit. And you know what? It's because it's freaking righteous, bro. A tier. No, actually no, screw it. A+. Pyra and Mithras share the title of the Aegis. This is also just kind of what they're called. Like when people refer to both characters at once, this is what they're referred to. And yeah, it sounds cool. B tier. Kazuya is the Iron Fist of Darkness. Super epic sauce, and mandatorily uses the term Iron Fist, since that's what Tekken means. Once again, this is his title in the Tekken series, and it does sound really cool and epic and awesome and stuff. A tier. And lastly, Sora's title is Chosen by the Keyblade. If I'm in the ring and that's the opponent's title, I'm just gonna be thinking, bro, who cares about the Keyblade?
Pick up a football.
C- because I'm tired of ranking now. Okay, so that was the full video with all the character titles. There's definitely a lot of really interesting routes taken throughout all of the languages, so I hope you've enjoyed seeing what they all are. Let me know which ones are your favorites, maybe explain some additional lore or details that I didn't go into. Obviously, I didn't take my own ranking that seriously, but I think the broad strokes are accurate to my vibes anyways. My favorite is definitely either Wario's or male Wii Fit Trainers. And I really didn't touch up a lot on the PAL versions from Smash 4, a lot of which were not only different, but way funnier for some reason. But I guess if they're not in Ultimate now, so it goes. It's a shame because I really did start to feel like a lot of the titles here were just kinda whatever. But yeah, with that, I'll end the video there. But not before I thank my lovely patrons, Pixel Boy, Rain, Soul700, and everyone else for their incredible support. Stay casual, and I'll see y'all later.